there a nest up there?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to FloorCereal. This is the third episode. Today, we're going to be doing Bluey, Season 1, Episode 24, Wagon Ride. I'm your host, Mr. Shark.
And I'm Persephone. The Wagon Ride episode, in case you haven't seen it, starts with the girls waking Dad up very, very early. Like, it's still purple outside. Because they want to go to the monkey bars. So they get in the wagon and they walk themselves to the park with the monkey bars. That walk, of course, does not go the way that Bluey wants it to go, and she has to figure out how to deal with that as they go. What do you think about that?
I think it's
like her making the plan and him trying to go home.
I don't know. I feel like it's not very Bandit, but I feel like that's because it's still like early in the thing.
No, this is what, episode 20 something?
I don't know. I think like I don't know how to explain it. Like he wouldn't like go. He would have done this first.
I don't think so. He plays with them and teases with them so much. It's kind of like your dad.
Yeah, I was gonna say this episode is so dad because it's like talking to everybody for 20 minutes, and I just want to like get where we're going because I walk with him every morning.
Yeah.
And this morning, Alice was coming down from like right there, and we stopped by the stop sign to wait for her. And then they just talked the whole way up until like Alice meets up with her friend. But it's just like everybody. And he doesn't even have to know them prior. He just stops and talks.
I like that he didn't like argue with her. I mean, really, he proposed his plan, which he knew she wouldn't take.
Right.
And then he didn't say, "Oh, well, then we're going home." He just turned around.
Yeah.
And then Bingo, "Yay, we're going home!"
Yeah.
She's just so go with the flow. But it forced Bingo to make the choice to go home or accept his plan.
Bluey.
Yes. It forced her to make that choice like out loud and verbally rather than him saying, well, I guess he could have said like, okay, well then we can go home.
Right.
You know, and she would have had to make the choice anyway, but I think him turning the wagon around is more...
Does something different
realistic
than just like giving her the verbal options.
The threat.
Right, the threat. It's not a threat, it's a like action.
Right.
Because actions do speak louder than words.
Right.
That episode, that part too, when I very first saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, because that's what we would do, and that's what we were taught to do, is when you need someone's attention and they're talking to someone else, not even just adults to other adults, but anyone, like you don't go and you interrupt, you go and you let them know by like the hand on the shoulder.
Do you know why you were taught that?
Because it's Montessori. Yeah.
It's like one of the very first things that a kid would learn in my classroom. Or in any Montessori classroom, is how to get someone's attention.
And I was like,
it's just someone's attention. It's not an adult specifically.
Right.
It's anyone's attention.
Because everyone deserves the respect of not being interrupted, not just adults. Yeah. And I was very impressed and like surprised that they had that because I have never seen like Montessori like teachings or not ideologies, but like techniques. Montessori techniques in children's shows like that.
Popular ones, yeah.
Right.
Although, admittedly, I don't watch as many of them now. Like, Luna's 9, so I haven't watched this level of children's programming in at least 6 years.
Right.
So, I don't know, maybe there's more of it out there than we realize. Somebody tell us if there's more, like, not just Montessori, but maybe other teachings of techniques that are making their way into children's programming. I know probably Sesame Street and all of those are doing it, but those are learning programs specifically, so that's kind of a different genre. But I'd be curious to know what other shows are actively, purposefully putting these types of things in.
I think that interaction was very nice. The positive feedback of appreciating that she did what she was supposed to, but still, like, you still have to, like, let me be able to talk. Right. And it's not like ugh, be more like your sister. It's like, maybe you could like notice that she's, you know, doing something
not bothered by it.
Exactly. Like you not like are not doing good and she is. It's like you can
just
learn
another way to handle the situation. Yeah. And that, so all of this also feeds into Montessori specifically. For me anyway, I haven't taught in other systems, well, traditional, but okay. But so like positive feedback isn't just good job. Like that's not positive feedback at all, actually, because there's no feedback portion. It's just positive. But the fact that he broke it down and was like, "Oh, you let me know you needed me. You waited," and for her to understand what she had done right and that she had got all the steps that she was supposed to is so important, because good job is so arbitrary and all-encompassing that a kid isn't like, you expect them to just parse out what exactly you're referring to. That's not realistic.
Right. It's like if he had just been like, good job, but next time try to be a little more patient.
That's exactly the way that most parents would have handled it.
Because she could think, like, does he want me to wait more before I even go over? Does he want me to, like, wait more before I speak? Does, like, where...
Yeah.
It helps to be more specific. Also, her being able to be like, well, I just find it hard to be patient, and him being like, no, he knows that that's the problem, but for her to be able to verbalize it and him to be able to say, well, what you could do is something like Bingo does. Just like watch what she does next time, and maybe that'll help you.
It's also not do what she does; it's watch what she does.
Watch what she does. Yeah. It's like with the checklist. It's not saying do this to fix your problem. It's saying here's this. Here's a tool. You know, and then leaving it so that if they want to do that, they can. But it's not like a saying. It's like letting them choose it for themselves,
and not just like wanting to or choosing it, but also getting from it what they get from it. Like he's not telling her how to be patient. He's not telling her how to extract being patient from Bingo.
Right.
He's just saying like, here are tools to help you, and here's another tool of watching your sister, and then whatever she gets from those.
Yeah,
he's gonna go with it.
It's like that's the place to be vague. Is so that they can is so that they can take what they need from it, and that will be what best helps them. And it's not like specifically maybe go and play in the grass, maybe go and pick some flowers. It's not it's not specifics. It's like,
unless, especially with children, they say, what can I do while I'm waiting? Then yes, give them a couple options. But before that, and that's a specific request, because parents like get so ahead of the problem, they want to get straight to the solution.
Right, but it's a process.
And it takes away the process from the children.
Exactly.
And so not only do they miss out on that learning,
but it also sometimes will make the kid feel less in control.
Yes.
Of their own like time and space and self.
Right.
If they're not able to experience the process of figuring out their own emotions, then they won't be able to do that later in life. Like, it's good to get them in a place where they're going to be able to teach themselves how to use and find tools to work through their emotions.
Well, and the only way for them to like know how to process their emotions and their feelings later in life is to practice it regularly as children. Like I said, parents are so like solution oriented.
Right. It's like, obviously the solution.
Yeah. They don't realize that solution is not what helps a kid.
Right.
Like move forward and, do better next time. It's the process that actually helps them.
It's helping jumpstart the process, showing them that there can be a process.
Right.
Instead of just showing them the solution for everything.
Well, and I think that for most parents comes down to like the stress of all of the day. Like, they don't have the time or the patience to sit down and have this conversation. Whereas if they would make the time and find the patience,
it would make it easier.
It pays off exponentially with children. Like, it doesn't take very many instances of you consistently making the time and finding the patience for those moments for them to start like having longer between those moments and being able to. Dad said yesterday Luna's hand was hurting. Yeah. And we were gone. And he heard Luna like, my hand hurts. She's like screaming about it. Right. And Icarus just went, okay, Luna, how does it hurt?
Yeah.
And he was very calm and he talked her through it. And like, she gets crazy about some of that stuff. And a lot of times, especially before, he would match her.
Right.
And whereas yesterday it was like okay, like I'm going to share my calm with you. How can I talk you through this?
Yeah.
And Dad ended up coming out and intervening, but it wasn't because it was explosive. It was because
Right.
Icarus couldn't help her. Like
Yeah.
he couldn't give her medicine. That's
Right. Yeah.
But that interaction comes from a like foundation of being able
Right.
to allow them to process things
Exactly.
and practice processing, and now he's at the point where he can share that with her. We didn't even have to do it as parents.
Yeah.
Like he did it for
Yeah.
her. He got her started. He got her calmed down. By the time Dad came out to give her medicine, she was chill. So, like, if that's the one thing that I could tell parents is that if you put the time and effort in up front, I know it's hard and I know it's stressful, but if you do it,
right,
it will pay off faster than you realize and larger than you realize.
Yeah.
Let's see how Wagon Ride scores on the star chart.
Already, I think for self-management, it has to be Bingo.
Okay. And she's scoring what?
An 8 or a 9, because she is very good at managing herself, like, throughout all of the episodes, but in this one specifically, she's very go with the flow, like, you know, oh, okay, we're going home now. Yeah, we're going home.
Self-awareness, social management.
I think social management, Bandit, because with the tool that he gives Bluey to help, well, both tools, with the hand on the shoulder and with the hint of, next time watch Bingo.
He's rating pretty high in the management, like just being aware and helpful rather than reactive.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, actively giving her the tools every step of the way.
Right.
It's pretty high. I'm going to go 9.
And
I don't know what it would take to get to 10.
Yeah.
Like, is it a perfect interaction? I would say even the teasing of trying to go home doesn't necessarily detract from me because I think that playfulness is important.
Right. It's not like serious, right?
Right. And he wasn't like angry threatening her to go home. He was just like, okay, well then we'll go home, which is the way that you should. If you're willing to follow through on a threat, it should be delivered in a non-threatening way. Right.
It shouldn't be a threat. It should be just like this is what's going to happen then.
Right. Exactly. It's a consequence.
It's a consequence and not like a threat.
Yeah.
And not like, it's like, okay, well, if you want this to happen and when you want to go home, it's not like going home is like the bad thing. It's just like these are the decisions you have.
Yes.
And based off of how you react and how you, choose what you say and want to do, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
And
so even that moment doesn't detract. I'm just thinking for myself, like, what is this a 9 for Bandit on managing everything? I can't think of another episode where he's so purposefully giving them tools.
Right.
Like, I can't think of any other episode where it's so purposeful and consistent.
Right. Yeah.
Like, every once in a while he tries to throw in a gem, but not the whole episode.
So is this a 10?
Is it? I'm gonna call it a 10. Okay, so we have self-awareness, social awareness, and empathy. I think I'm gonna put Bandit and empathy as well.
Because it is very easy for, like, as a parent to be like, sit in the wagon, wait, I'm talking to, like, the adults are talking.
Yes, that's so easy.
And have a very
top-down authoritative.
Exactly, because I think a lot of adults and a lot of parents will see their, like, emotions and interactions and selves as just, like, more important. Because,
even in a space like this where they're on the wagon ride because the kids ask to go.
Right.
Like, even in that situation where the only reason they're there is because the kids have a goal in mind, they still, many parents would see their interaction as taking priority, even though the entire trip is purposefully for the kids.
Right. It's so dumb. It's like...
Agreed.
Like, your kids' conversations and emotions don't need to be put on hold. It's very nice that he takes the time to be, like, kind and patient and helpful with Bluey instead of just being like, I don't want to deal with it. I want to talk to my friends.
Right. Like, if you keep interrupting, we're going to go home.
Right. Exactly.
Which is like another way that many parents would have handled it.
Yeah. It's like, I still want you to be able to get where you're going, but I want to make sure that everyone in this situation is being respected and being fulfilled.
Right. Yeah. Being respected is the key there.
Right.
Okay. So in empathy, where do you think Bandit sits?
Another 9.
Social awareness and self-awareness.
self-awareness should be Bluey, because she is able to be like, I find it hard to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
And then as she's feeling herself like getting all worked up and impatient, she's like, wait, I remember I
Right.
have this tool, I know the hint, watch what Bingo does.
And even before that, she follows through on the hand on the shoulder. That's not something that most kids can get right away. And I mean, she's 6, she's a little bit older, so
Right.
she understands, but she's able to actually do it. So yeah, I think that's good too. Where would you put her on self-awareness?
Maybe an 8.
And then social awareness. I think Bandit. And the reason that I say Bandit is because the tools that he's giving Bluey are, like you were just saying, they're going to benefit everyone in the situation. They're going to benefit him and the people he's talking to not that any of them were like annoyed.
Right.
They all totally understood, maybe better than Bandit did.
Yeah.
But the tools that he's sharing with Bluey are helping not only everyone on their walk, but
both
everyone
of them,
that
like,
she's going to interact with.
Both the two people, Bluey and Bandit, having the conflicting need of Bandit wanting to be able to stop and talk to his friends and take his time on the walk, and Bluey wanting to just get to the monkey bars and like get to where she wants to go, and him presenting a situation in which, or a tool that could, and a solution that is able to help both people be like get what they need.
Yeah, like you were saying before, he could have handled it in lots of different ways, and none of those would have been socially managing the situation. He wouldn't have been taking Bingo's or Bluey's feelings into account. He would have just been selfishly trying to get what he wants, or shut the operation down.
Or if he were to be like, okay, we'll just like go straight, I won't talk to any of my friends.
Right.
Like that, like, wouldn't be fair to him, and that also wouldn't give Bluey a good lesson of, sometimes we do need to be patient, and sometimes we do need to wait so that other people can also have fun on the walk.
That avenue for solving the problem also would have potentially, or very likely, created a situation where for the walk, for the entire time at the monkey bars and the entire walk home, and maybe even for the rest of the day, Bandit is resentful to Bluey for making him make that choice to not talk to anybody and just power walk it to the monkey bars. That happens a lot too. Parents make choices to simplify a situation, but then they are resentful of the choice that they feel they had to make, just because they were unwilling or unable to find another creative solution.
Right.
Okay, so social awareness is Bandit, but what do we feel like pretty high? I'm gonna say 8.
Yeah,
this is a high episode.
Very.
Bandit's like really, I think this might be the episode where everybody started to lose their mind over Bandit being a better dad than they were.
Yeah, because very much so.
Like,
because
everybody
it's
talks
like
about him playing with them, but really, this one, he keeps his cool. He's kind. He's considerate.
And like the active like handing, and the I think social management is like, this is definitely a 10 the more I think about it, because the active giving of tools and the way he does it, and you don't see it a lot. You don't see it a lot in media. You don't see it a lot in parents.
Yeah.
It's like, so often would it just be no, sit down, shut up, go to the wagon and be quiet and wait.
Right.
And it's not that. It's very respectful of Bluey's feelings and what she's wanting to do. Not like surprising, but like wow, you don't see that a lot.
Right. It's pleasant.
Yeah, it's like, it's good surprise to see.
So if you want to see this week's star chart, it'll be on Instagram at Persephone Jane or TikTok at FloorCereal.
This was a much better episode than I remembered. Because like
and compared to Horsey Ride a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's pretty rough. So this is really nice.
But like it's like most Bluey episodes are good in their solutions, but I think, I keep saying this, but like the active giving of the tools was very like very early off. Like, this is still like season 1. I mean, it's like it's halfway through the season,
Yeah.
but it's definitely one of the first ones that people were like, oh,
Maybe
wow.
they were like leaning from horsey ride to the
Yeah.
other side of the spectrum, and then they
Yeah.
finally figured out how to find their middle
Right.
ground. All right. I think that's it for today's episode. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.